Have you ever heard the tale of a ruler so powerful yet so misunderstood that her story seems almost hidden by the sands of time? Today we unveil the hidden secrets of Egypt's female pharaoh, Hatshepsut. How did a woman ascend to the throne in ancient Egypt, a civilization dominated by male rulers? And why is her story so significant? Let's travel back to the early 15th century BC, when ancient Egypt was entering its third and final golden age. Can you imagine the excitement of that era, especially after Pharaoh Ahmose I, the founder of the New Kingdom, drove out the Hyksos invaders? But who was the real star behind Egypt's prosperity during this golden age? It was none other than his great-granddaughter, Pharaoh Hatshepsut. Why was Hatshepsut so special, you might ask? Well, despite the challenges of being a woman in a male-dominated role, she rose to become one of the most successful pharaohs in all of ancient Egyptian history. Born in 1508 BC to Pharaoh Thutmose I and Queen Ahmose, Hatshepsut was no ordinary princess. Raised in the royal courts with her siblings who tragically died young, she was surrounded by power and intrigue from the very start. But how did she become pharaoh? After her father's death, her half-brother Thutmose II took the throne. He was the lesser son of his father and needed a queen of pure royal blood to strengthen his claim. Who better than the 12-year-old Hatshepsut, right? So at just 12, she married her 15-year-old half-brother and became a queen. Together, they had a daughter named Neferure. Thutmose II also had a son with another wife who would later become Thutmose III and the heir to the throne. But what makes Hatshepsut truly remarkable? Well, beyond just ruling, she was a visionary. During her reign, she expanded the empire's trade routes. She was the force behind the construction of some of ancient Egypt's greatest architectural wonders. Hatshepsut, whose name means foremost of noble ladies, wasn't just a ruler. She was a symbol of prosperity and power. Isn't it fascinating how she managed to carve her name into history, literally and metaphorically, despite all odds? If you were in ancient Egypt in 1479 BC, a sudden twist of fate suddenly left a 3-year-old boy as the heir to the throne. Who was there to steer the ship of state? Enter Hatshepsut, the Queen Regent, a woman woven deeply into the fabric of royalty as the daughter, sister, wife, and mother of pharaohs. With such a powerful lineage, her claim to the throne was unshakable. But what happens when the boy king is too young to rule? For 7 years, Hatshepsut acted as his regent. But as you might guess, she had bigger plans. What would you do if you were in her shoes, backed by a lineage of rulers? Hatshepsut made a bold decision. She declared herself the pharaoh of Egypt. Sure, her royal blood was indisputable, but her gender? That was a hurdle she needed to clear. Now, how does a woman assert her right to rule in a male-dominated world? Hatshepsut's strategy was as divine as it was clever. She proclaimed herself the earthly daughter of Amun, the Egyptian god of air, claiming that on the night of her conception, Amun had chosen her father's body to impregnate her mother. Can you imagine the audacity and the genius of such a claim? This was no small gamble, yet it paid off. Partly thanks to the backing of influential courtiers, including a man named Senenmut. He was the overseer of royal works and, rumor has it, possibly Hatshepsut's secret lover. With her divine right established and elite support secured, Hatshepsut didn't stop there. To cement her image as pharaoh, she took an extraordinary step in her propaganda efforts. Ever seen those sculptures and carvings where Hatshepsut sports a male body and a false beard? That was her way of fitting into the pharaoh's role visually. By aligning her image with traditional male depictions of pharaohs, she wasn't just ruling Egypt, she was reshaping how power looked. Isn't it fascinating how Hatshepsut used every tool at her disposal to ensure her place in history? And if you're finding her story interesting so far, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. This was someone who climbed to the very top of ancient Egypt's power structure, becoming pharaoh, a position of immense authority and reverence. Now, being a pharaoh as a woman, Hatshepsut shattered every ceiling to claim the throne. But there was one barrier even she couldn't easily break. Can you guess what it was? Despite her unprecedented rise, the notion of a woman leading troops into battle was still unthinkable. Why, you might wonder? Well, in those times, such roles were strictly seen as the domain of men, much like her father and husband before her had done. How could Hatshepsut handle this expectation? While she had proven her capability to govern, command in the battlefield was a different challenge. Leading warriors into combat was not just about strategy, it symbolized power, courage, and the traditional image of kingship, all attributes historically assigned to men. How did Hatshepsut navigate this tricky part of her reign? Through sheer ingenuity and by reshaping what leadership looked like, showing that power could wear a different face, even that of a woman. Her reign was largely peaceful, focusing on economic growth and majestic building projects, rather than the battles and conquests that marked the eras of many pharaohs before and after her. One of her most remarkable ventures was the ambitious trading expedition to the mysterious land of Punt. This wasn't just any journey. It was a quest that brought back treasures like ivory, gold, and exotic spices, enriching Egypt and showing Hatshepsut's capability to enhance the empire's wealth. But how did Hatshepsut convince a society steeped in traditional male leadership that she, a woman, was destined to rule? It was through a mix of divine right and strategic public relations. She skillfully used reliefs on public buildings to depict her coronation by her father, and even claimed that the god Amun had predicted her rise to power. She tied her rule to the legacy of her ancestors who expelled the Hyksos, positioning herself as a restorer of order and tradition. Hatshepsut's architectural contributions are undeniable. Her crowning achievement, the mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari, remains one of the architectural marvels of ancient Egypt. This temple, along with her other construction projects, like the enhancements to the Karnak temple complex, are lasting testaments to her reign and vision. Despite her achievements, securing her legacy was a challenge. After her death, attempts were made by her stepson Thutmose III and later rulers to erase her from historical records. This campaign of erasure was likely driven by a desire to reinforce traditional male succession and eliminate the precedent of a powerful female ruler. Through all these challenges and triumphs, Hatshepsut's story remains a fascinating chapter in the history of ancient Egypt, illustrating not just her rule as a pharaoh, but also her enduring impact on the empire's culture and architecture. And now that you've witnessed the extraordinary life of Hatshepsut, are you ready for even more captivating stories from ancient Egypt? Click on the next video to dive into the world of Egyptian gods and their intricate, sometimes wild, relationships.